Hi everyone. We will start the session straight away. Before starting, I would like to give a brief about what is Brain and Bytes, how we want to take this forward, and what about the today's session. So initially, the Brain and Bytes is meant for like Brain is for CS, Bytes is for AI. So we, along with Krishna Sri, we had an conversation and we decided we should also build a community wherein CS or more over should interact with AI and develop a tools uh, which will be solve so many problems which currently CS are facing. So in that journey, we have already done a couple of sessions, but those are done physically. But this is the first session which is going virtually today. And the behind whole this Brain and Bytes session, the main criteria was CA community who are into building AI tools. So this is more or less what is the Brain and Bytes. I'm next coming to what is today's session. Today's session is going more or less on how we can do the Python basic structuring and what are the basic tools or what are the basic features that are there in the Python and how we can use those and leverage in our current practice or however we are running our day-to-day lives. And also, if possible, Praveen will take up a couple of tools with respect to chatbots as well. So without any delay, I would also like to share one small incident here. So before starting this Brain and Bytes, even many of us, similar to many of us, I used to open ChatGPT or open any LLM for specifically to draft or change my context in that sense. Rather than post starting this session, I have spent more time on AIs and I have built more tools like which are useful for CS and it has been published over and used by hundreds and thousands of CS and CS got much more appreciation, which I felt is everyone, if I can do, everyone else similar to us can do the same thing. I can quickly show you, how exactly we can do this and how I have done such tools as well for your basic reference here. So this is the similar basic tools which I have built, like similar to income. MCA, which is CCFS recent scheme has been going on to calculate the savings penalty. Everything, all these things are, without any coding knowledge, without any particular knowledge. This is something with respect to income tax calculator. This is something with respect to what are the compliances which any particular person can be having. What are the list of compliances which will be triggered to particular persons or particular companies. And I have also developed my own website using the same tool and using the same coding without any coding language. Without taking much time here, I would like to call our today's speaker, CA Praveen. So I would like to give a brief about CA Praveen. He is into FP&A, FP and lead, and also he is the finalist in season 4 ICA hackathon as well. And he already developed so many tools which are useful for CAs in practice as well as CAs who are doing their day-to-day in industries as well. And also he is more or less into towards Python and chatbots building. So without any delay, I would like to hand over the session to Praveen. Praveen, you can take over.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Krupa and Krishna Sri, first of all, giving me the opportunity. So before I move ahead with the session, can you please confirm whether I'm audible and visible? I'll also try to share my screen and just confirm that as well. Right, so then we can go ahead with the session.
You're audible. Yeah, you can go ahead.
I'm trying to share my screen.
Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, my screen is visible?
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah. So before I get into the topic, right? So I quick intro about myself again, as Krupa mentioned, but I just want to brief about myself and then get into the session, because without knowing about speaker profile, I think it is incomplete, right? So as Krupa mentioned, so I was a qualified chartered accountant and currently working in the industry as an FP&A lead. So and more about tech-driven interest, right? So being a chartered accountant, so our institute is in a front runner which promoting AI, right? So let's have a quick poll. You can see in the chart, right? Just can you vote the poll, like how many of you are CS? Just I want to understand like how many of the participants are CS. Can you please participate in the poll quickly. I can see 5 votes in the first poll. 4, great, 5. Yeah, others, I think I see around 32 participants. So if you can participate in the first poll, I mean, you can participate in all the polls which got hosted. Yeah, so I can see majority of our chartered accountants, right? So again, in the second poll, how many of you completed your level 1 of ICA course, or how many of you know that our institute is promoting something called AI programs? Those who are not aware, please go to this website, aiinica.org. This is our AI website which institute hosted, where you'll get all the resources related to AI, right? Example, the first basic example, let's say you want to explore some use cases, you don't know where to start, or you don't know what to create, right? Just come here.
I request everyone to please mute yourself.
Yeah. So going back to the topic, so yeah, this is a AI website where they host all the AI use cases, all the resources, right? Basically, right now, as he mentioned, I was finalist of season 4. Right now, the season 5 is currently running, hackathon season 5. And you see all these use cases are related to hackathon season 5, right? And if you come down, you'll not believe the more I think, if I'm not wrong, around 700 to 800 use cases got published in this page. So you can go ahead with example, right? Again, just to touch base of my use case, which I hosted in my grand finale. This is my grand finale use case, right? So those who are interested to see what exactly the use case, right? Not how it performs, at least to know what it exactly use case. You can see the problem statement, the solution, how we approach. So all these use cases will be that, so that at least you'll have some eye opener to start your AI journey, or to start implementing AI in your respective areas, right? And the one which we're talking now is this level 1 ICA course. It is a certification course where you learn more about AI and then other technologies as well, right? So those who are chartered accountant and those who are yet to start their AI journey, I would strongly urge, please do enroll this course. Again, it's not advertisement which I want to tell from ICA standpoint, but this is something which our institute is promoting a lot, right? So level 1, once you cross level 1, that's where little complexity comes into picture, and then level 2. And now ICA is working on the level 3 as well, right? So please to complete this if interested. And also we have a few publications which ICA has launched, right? I mean, those who are not aware, again, we almost have around 6 books till now. The latest book, which is on DPTP Act, Ethics in AI. And now currently we are working on a other book called AI Essentials for a Chartered Accountant, right? So and after that we are working on other book called Python for Beginners. So happy to announce that I was author for the book for AI Essential for Chartered Accountants. So I was just writing for one of the chapter in that book. So yeah, I mean, I just want to touch base on what our institute are doing. And now this is the time, as a members, we need to act what institute is doing. We need to make use of all the resources, right? So please do register for AI hackathons, and then level 1 courses, and then all the use cases which got published in our website, right? So with that, maybe I'll quickly check the final poll results. So I can see here the session, 8 people are CS and 3 are non-CS. Good. I mean, this session is particularly for chartered accountants, so that it can be eye opener for them and start the journey. And I see majority of not completed their ICA level 1 course. That's not a big deal, but no problem. So never is late. So you can just go ahead and do that. And then most of the people has not registered for a hackathon, right? That's good, no problem. So right now the season 5 is going on. Deadlines are almost completed. So you can just try for season 6 as well, right? Yeah. Without much delay, I just wanted to start the session. Right, so let's not go into much technical in this session, as it is very beginner friendly, right? So let's understand what is a Python, basics of Python, and how you can run Python in your own system without installing Python software, or with installing Python software as well, right? So first, to get start with the Python, let's understand what is few terminologies like Frontend and Backend, right? You use this, or you listen these terminologies quite often in this tech-driven world, right? So think of, you are going to a restaurant where you can see everything which is visible to your eyes, right? Example, a menu card, or a waiter, or an ambience. So all these things you can visualize, or you can see, or you can feel it when you are going to a restaurant, right? But what is happening in the backend, right? The moment you place an order, it is going to a kitchen department. They are processing the orders and they are delivering to you, right? So this is similar to what happens in this tech-driven world. So front end is something which you will see at a front view. Like example, you are seeing this page, right? AI page. So all these AI about events, resource, contact, all these are the front end features which you are seeing. And there is something which is happening in the back end. The moment I click CA GPT, right? The moment I click CA GPT, the next page is coming. And the moment I log into using my credentials, example, right? If I use my credentials and send OTP, OTP is getting generated. So how it is getting generated? There is a predefined program which is running in the backend, which is one of the backend languages is Python right now, right? So in this session, we are covering one of the backend language, which we are going to cover in entire session. And the front end which you are seeing is little different programming language, where it can be a HTML or Java or whatever the front end language, right? So if you see here the front end languages and back end languages, so you just see all the list of front end and back end, right? So if you see front end, most people now using HTML, right? If you see example, my website, right? So all these fully front end. There is no much back end happening in the website. So all these I developed using JavaScript and HTML tools. So, but if you want to perform something complex in terms of calculation or processing any data or anything, right? That's where you need the use of backend language. So few very famous backend languages which is in place is JavaScript, or we call as Node.js, and Python. That's what we're covering now. And we have some other C+ and Java as well. So let's stick to Python. Let's understand the Python today, right? So that's more on what exactly Python stands, whether it's a front end or a back end, right? So now the question is why we need to learn Python, right? So I mean, being a CS, we have little curious question that why can't we do everything in Excel, right? So we can't do everything in Excel because it do have certain limitations, right? I'll show a quick demo of how powerful a Python tool is, and then let's get into understanding the basics of Python, because I want to show the potential of Python, right? So it can do web automations in a click of time. Let's say example, one basic step which CAs do, right? Example, you are logging into an income tax portal, you are clicking on this login button and entering your credentials, and post that it is downloading some forms, right? This is a typical exercise you do to download any form, right? So what if a program or a code can do instead of you doing it, right? Because this is not a rocket science. You are just logging using your credentials, going to some section and downloading that, right? So this Excel can't do, right? I mean, obviously, even though it has a potentials, it do have certain limitations, like it can't process within seconds as good as Python, right? So there are certain limitations, or there are certain things which we can't process in Excel. Let's say example, if you want to merge 1,000 Excel files, you can't do that in Excel. Although you can do it using VBA, there is a chances where Excel will get hanged, right? That's where the coding languages or Python comes into picture and solves that problem, right? So I'll quickly show a demo of what I built in semi-final use case, right? So these are my Python codes. Don't get fear. It's not a rocket science again. So again, to run the Python code, we have several ways which we'll learn, right? In this session we'll run, but I just want to show the potentiality of Python. So these I just created a Python code. I mean, the problem it is getting solved is, I mean, many people log into portal downloading 26 AS or AS or GST or 2B and all. So come to this, just select which website you want to look for and select which client you want to look for, right? Like example, I want to look for a client called Praveen, and which form you want to download. I want to download AS, right? Annual Information System, which most of the CS are aware, right? And which year you want to download, right? You just fill the basic information, what you want to fill, and then click on submit. So this is where magic starts. See, I'm not doing anything in the screen. You can just see my hands are idle. I'm not doing anything in the website. It is going to the login button. It is entering the details, which is in the backend, and it is picking the form, entering the password, clicking on the submit button. The moment you click on the submit button, it should navigate to the particular section where AS should be there, right? So I mean, right now it is loading, so I should keep that in the code. But yeah, so if you see that example, I mean, right now I'm doing manually because I think I have not kept the waiter. But yeah, if you click on AS, it is going to the compliance portal, the AS portal, and then it is trying to, I mean, we got some error. That's fine. Yeah, let's quickly run again and see it's working. But yeah, because it's been a long time, I just use this, or else I can show a demo which I demonstrated in final semi-final one. Let's quickly try once. But yeah, now you understood the essence, right? So you can do a web scraping. This is called web scraping or web automation, simulating your manual actions, right? What are you doing manually? You can do that using Python, right? So that powerful is the Python. This is one example. The other use cases are if you are having a PDF copy, right, and having some details in the PDF copy, and you want to extract the PDF copy, right? So that we call OCR technology, where you can extract the elements. See, you see here now, the PDF file is getting downloaded, and usually, right, AES comes with a password protected, but the system should know what is a password to unlock the file, right? So I just went ahead in one layer and I added that code as well, right? If you just see here, downloads, there is a two files which gets downloaded. One is a raw AES file which has a password protected, but again, I don't want to, I mean, I don't remember the passwords of 100 clients or 200 clients, right? That's where the second PDF comes into picture, where you see here, it is auto downloaded at 9:23 a.m. right now. So now this is a password, without password, the file get opened, right? So basically this is a lock file and this is an unlock file. So now by this time you understand the potential of Python, right? So if you want to do web scraping, if you want to do web automation, or if you want to unlock a PDF, right? This is one basic example which I want to show, right? So that powerful the Python is, and not, I mean, this use case is very much helpful in our CA fraternity as well, right? Because most of the CAs will be downloading some forms, especially AES comes with a password protected, like how it is knowing in the backend what is a password or not, right? Basically, it is going to a profile section and picking your date of birth and picking your PAN number. It is collating that, and then it is trying to unlock that, right? If you see, if you try to see the code, right, it is little scary because it will run through for almost thousands lines, because by seeing that it's little complex as well, right? So if you see here, this big the code is, again, it doesn't happen overnight. A lot of reiterations happen, lot of testing happen, because as you know, right, when I testing it the first time, we got an error, right? Like that, when I keep testing, I got a lot of errors, a lot of reiterations happen, and then finally this is the outcome, right? Let's quickly see what exactly it is doing, right? See, we see here, any Python code, if you see, you will see something called import, right? What exactly that import stands for, right? Example, if you want to edit any image in your screen, right? Let's say example, if you taken your photo and if you want to edit that photo, right? First thing what you'll do is you'll see what are the good editing platforms or what are the good editing applications we have in the Play Store, and you'll go ahead and download that, right? But we do have some basic options in the gallery, right? Why can't you use that edit options in the gallery itself or Photos app itself, rather than going to a external application and using that, like PixArt or any other applications, right? The reason why we are using external applications rather than the inbuilt function in the Photos is it is customized for that respect to action, right? PixArt, if you download a PixArt application from the Play Store, it is more customized, or it is developed to edit the pictures or to collage the pictures or to edit the videos as such, right? So this also follows the same pattern. So when you say imports, it is kind of importing all the applications which need to run this code, right? So that we call as libraries. So let's quickly jump into again the fundamentals now, because I just want to show the potential of Python. Again, let's keep this session little interactive. So it's not that I'm talking always. So I just want some responses, whether you're able to get that, or you're still stuck somewhere, or if you're not understanding what exactly I'm referring to. So can we show some yes, no in the chat? So I can just see a few comments, but yeah, can you please respond in the chat whether you're able to get the essence which.
May I ask you a question?
Yes.
So, sorry. So this import is like inbuilt in Python itself, or it is some external something external of Python, or it's a part of Python?
Yes, sir. It is a part of Python, which I'll cover in a couple of minutes. We call something called libraries and packages. So when you refer that library and packages, the line import shows that it is importing that library or packages which got installed in the Python, right? Which I'll cover that, but I want to show the potentiality of Python first, and then let's get into basic use case, understanding of Python, everything and all. So Yeah. Can you give little yes or no? It's good to go. Yes, I got one from Amitesh. Yes. Yeah. Well, we'll go to basic fundamentals of a Python, right? So yeah. So again, Python is, as we mentioned, a program or a coding language which system should understand and performs its own functions, right? So first, as Sar mentioned, right, what is an import or what is the libraries which I'm talking now, everything we'll cover in the coming minutes. So basic function of a Python compared to Excel, right? Excel, again, as I mentioned, if I have around 117 files, I just created a sample files. If I want to merge that, how you can do that? You can do either manually, you can do using VBA, which we have in Excel, and we can do using other program languages, right? Other programming languages here stands for Python, because Python is one of the powerful language to process all these tasks, whereas front-end applications are not that good at performing these tasks, right? So now if you want to merge these and provided a merge file, right? So you can't do that in Excel right now because it is very huge, 117 files, or right now it is 117. If it count goes to 1,000, how you can do that, right? That's where Python comes into picture, as we mentioned, and all these problems will get resolved, right? So in order to perform these functions, Python can't do in its own. It needs some support, or it should have some support system to perform these functions, right? Especially when you want to process the data, or when you want to read some data, or when you want to perform some steps, right? You need some support system on top of Python, right? Python is just a languaging application, right? If you want to perform some actions, like how we want to edit some image, you are using PixArt, or if you want to edit your video, you are using KineMaster, right? Those are available in a Google Play Store. So Python is also a kind of Google Play Store where you will call some applications and do the actions, right? So in these tasks, if you want to merge 1,000 files or 100 files, right, you will use some library called Pandas, right? So these are few famous libraries which you will listen in a Python world, right? What exactly the libraries, I just show that, but before that, famous libraries in Python, right? Example, most famous Python libraries if you see, first and foremost, you see is Pandas, right? And we'll use something called NumPy. We'll talk a little bit later, but Pandas is a primary library we'll use to process all these functions. One is reading, one is processing the data, or doing some complex functions using connecting Excels or doing some calculations, everything, right? So if you see, come down here, right? Data analysis and manipulation. Right now we are doing a data cleanup or data merging, right? So for these, Python is a powerful library. So we call library or packages, whatever the naming is, right? So we need this inside Python to perform the respective function, right? So now we understood why Python, why not Excel? Because if we have some complex functions, Excel is not an ideal scenario. Again, gone are the days where we need to spend a lot of time on Excel. Now this is the time we need to shift our gears to the other coding platforms like Python or HTML, Java, everything and all. You can just keep exploring the tools. That's where you'll understand the real power of those tools, right? VBA is a very good feature in Excel, but that's not an end of our technology world, right? So as we mentioned here, we'll use Pandas and see how we can merge those respective 100 files into a single file within a second, right? So now, second question is how to run or how we can code it, basically, right? There are multiple ways you can code or you can run your Python script or Python code, whatever it is, right? So first and foremost, which I'll always follow an easy approach, just go to Python website, right? So this is our Python official website. You can go there and you can download your Python, what I call is software, right? Again, this is not a harm to your system because there's an official ones which everyone will be using to run your Python code. So this is a basic application which you need in your system to run any Python code, right? Again, let's not go into running Python code now. Let's understand how we can download at least and how we can install our Python application, right? So now if you go here, come down, don't go with the latest version always. Go with the version which is little older but not little latest as well, because some application or some libraries may not fit into latest version of your Python application, right? So we can go here and just install some Python 3.10. If you see my software, right, I have Python 3.11 and 3.9 as well, right? So you can just go ahead and install the application here, and then we can get started. If interested, I'll just share this link. You can go ahead and yeah, I think, yeah, Krishna Sri provided that. Thanks for that. But yeah, so the moment you opened, I mean, you download the Python, right? So it'll throw something you can see here, this Python application. So once you see this application, you can go to start with the coding process. Next step is how you can code that, right? That's not a big deal in this AI-driven world, how to code and all. But first, basic necessity is you should have a Python application in your system, right? Now, I know there are little curious people who ask, what if I don't have Python application in my system? Can I still run a Python code? Yes, there is an option where we can use a cloud, what I can say, version of Python, and without installing Python in your system, you can still run that, right? How many of you know without installing a certain application, you can run your code? A quick yes or no in the chat. I mean, we don't need a Python application to run your code. How many of you are aware? Yes, I can see one S. Sham is aware that without installing a Python in our system, we can run a Python code. There are a couple of no's as well. Yeah, that's where, I mean, I can tell more about that, but yeah. So we have something called Google Colabs. Have you heard about that, Google Colabs? If not, please try to explore the ecosystem of Google, right? I mean, Google, again, now front runner in everywhere. If you want to generate image, you have Gemini. If you want to create websites, you have Google AI Studio. If you want to run code, you have a beautiful feature called Google Colabs. So Google Colab is a cloud-based Python application, you can say, without installing any software in your system. You can run a Python code, right? Let's see how we can do that with a demo. But before that, I just want to share this link. And at least, right, I don't want you to download application now. So that's the reason I'm showing an alternative of running a Python code. So click this link and you click something on new notebook, right? It's just like creating your new folder. So once you click on new notebook, you'll see a screen like this. Yeah, you'll see screen like this. So can you please confirm how many of you are seeing the screen? A quick yes, no, just by clicking on this link. Yes. Great. Yeah. So now, yeah, now we have that, right? So before that, let's understand another technical concept called IDE. I'll just paste here IDE, right? So what is IDE? These are the terms which you'll use or which you'll listen in your Python journey, right? So what is IDE? IDE stands for Integrated Development Enterprises, or I mean, maybe I'm not that correct in the full name, but yeah. So what is IDE? So IDE is a tool or a software we can call where you can write the code, execute the code, or debug the code, right? If some error comes, again, you can debug the code, right? So that's we call as IDE, right? Again, why we are discussing about IDE, right? Because example, when you go to Notepad, right? And when you write some Python code here, example, this is one Python code example, right? So when I write this Python code in a Notepad, can I execute that? I can't, right? Because Notepad is not potential to run a Python code, right? Example, you can write that example, right? Come here, click on import or pandas as PD example. If you written a code, you can't run this, right? So we can't call Notepad as an IDE. Then what are the IDEs available, right? By default, when you download Python in your system, you have something called IDLE, right? IDLE is one of the IDE tools available where you can run your code, right? So basically IDE stands for where you can debug, write your code, or run your code, right? What are the famous IDEs we have outside, right? Because if you see this IDLE, right, which by default downloads when you download your Python, right? Here you can just run your code, but you can't create a versions, or you can't what I can say, debug easily, right? Because IDLE is a very basic IDE which comes along with the Python, but we have one powerful IDE which is very famous across the world, right? We call Visual Studio, right? VS Code. Those who are very new to the Python, you you'll start hearing this word when you are entering to a Python word called VS Studio or Visual Studio. Again, this is a free, which is developed by Microsoft. You can download from the online. You can just go here and download Visual Studio application. Or I mean, the safer approach, which I always follow, is go to apps, right? Microsoft applications, right? Microsoft Store. If you have Microsoft O365 in your system, go to Microsoft Store, search here for Python or search here for Visual Studio, and you download that. So that's where at least you will trust, right? Because something which is there in your Microsoft is something really trustworthy, right? So come here, click on Visual Studio, and click on run, right? Visual Studio Code. Click on install, because I installed from outside. I have not installed from the store. But yeah, you can install that. Once you install that, you'll see something screen like this, right? I mean, I'll just go to the home page. Yeah, this is what you will see in the screen. Blank screen you will see, right? I don't want to take a tour of Visual Studio, but I want to show why Visual Studio or why we have something called IDE, right? These we call as IDE tools, where you can debug, where you can write code, and you can execute as well, right? As I mentioned, in Notepad, you can't execute the code, right? Yeah, so now you got some basic stuff about...
Sorry to interrupt, Ravin here. So the basically IDE nothing but it's an error correction, right? Whenever we upload a code, it will correct it. Whenever there's some mistake that's happened in the real application.
Yeah,
So
not
kind of backend.
Yeah, not exactly. Yeah, it will correct. It can't correct in its own, right? See, the main reason of IDE is it can we can write a code in IDE and you can execute it. Whereas, as I mentioned in Notepad, we can't execute, right? There are some IDEs which I showed in Visual Studio, right? Here, if you see in Visual Studio, this is where which your question will get solved. Here, you have something called AI feature. I'll show quickly. Open folder. Again, right? Let's quickly open one of the file here. Python file. Let's quickly try to open. Yeah, sorry. Open file. Yeah, so basically, see, this is one of the Python code which we written in the backend, and you are able to see this, right? Let's say if you want to change this, you can change. But the beauty is not about changing, right? How you can execute directly from here, right? If you see here, you have something called run, right? So give me a minute. I just close this, and then we have run Python here. See,
okay,
screen is not visible, but yeah. You see here, I'll just right click. I'm not doing anything. See, this is a code which I got from AI. Any AI tool can give this code, but let's get into this code as well. But I'll just show you the beauty of this VS Studio. So run Python and then run Python in terminal, right? Okay. So when you do that, it will go ahead and run. Although we have some error, but that's not a big deal. So this is the IDE is for debugging your code and running your code. On top of that, the beauty of Visual Studio is, right, you have something called here toggle chart, right? When you click on toggle chart, when you ask something, hey, can you change my code to include, I mean, we have some stocks here. I want to include some of the stock name as to include Nestle, right? Nestle into the stocks. You closely observe this, right? Closely observe this list. We have KPIT, TCS, Infosys, HDFC, ICICI, SBI, L&T, ITC. We don't have Nestle, but I want to include that, right? So usually what you will do is you'll go to ChatGPT, you'll go to Gemini AI, or you go to Claude, and you'll ask for further revision of your code, right? No need of going to anywhere. This is where you can do. So if I click on this, if I enter, your code will automatically change. No need of going to external AI platforms where you have inbuilt. I mean, this is not inbuilt. We need to have something called add-ons, extension we call, where if you add, right, example, CBC, I just asked it and it is changed that. If you see, Nestle will get is what added into your code. Now you can execute this code. So this is the updated code. You can execute it, right? I'll just say here, hey, can you execute the code? Right? If you tell that, it will do that. It's a kind of an AI one Gen AI one where you will type your requirement. It will kind of give you that. Right? It is running my code currently. So basically the I mean, what exactly this code before we talk about the results and all. So I want stocks which are fallen 50% from 52-week high, but their market cap is more than 10,000 and then their PE ratio is less than 30, right? Those are the little decent stocks which we call, right? So now when you want to see those stocks which are fallen 50% from 52-week high, and then PE ratio less than 30, and then market cap is greater than 10,000 crores and all, it's very difficult for you to manually run, right? So what you should do is either we have something called screener here. Screener, I'll just show here. Okay, I don't have
What
that.
is the name of the add-on?
Yes, sir. I'll come to that. I'll come to the libraries which we use. But first, let's see how manually we'll go and screen our stocks, right? Example. See, this is basic example I want to show. Let's also go to some other finance examples as well, right? So this is a query which I have, which I'm running in a screener app, right? Let's see what is the outcome. So KPIT is one of the stock and Hexaver is one of the stock. Again, note that I'm not recommending any stocks. I just want to show how we can do that using Python. See, KPIT is one of the company which fallen from 52-week high of 50% now. Your current price is 50% of your 52-week high. What is 52-week high? Those who are not aware, 52-week is nothing but 1 year time frame, right? In 1 year, you have 52-week. So in 1 year, it went so high and it fallen from that 50%, right? And also it is going and checking market cap. So this market cap is crossing 10,000. Anything which crosses 10,000 crores is a good company. That's how we always believe, right? Market cap. I mean, that is not only factor, but that is one of the factor. And again, PE ratio, if it is less than 30, price earning ratio, which means it is available at a decent price. So that's how we usually touch these fundamentals. But again, not using the screener app, I want to use a Python to know my stocks, right? Then what you can do is you can just simply come to ChatGPT. Again, that's a famous one which we use, right, for anything. But again, for coding things and all, you can use Gemini AI or Claude as well, which is little good at coding, right? But okay, fine. We'll just go ahead and ask ChatGPT, right? So what we can do is, hey, I mean, you can just say, I want a Python code to filter the stocks which meets this criteria, right? I mean, right now I'm just entering, but I already have the code here. But let's see. I want a Python code. See, I'm not asking any libraries. I'm not asking anything to generate, right? Or the ChatGPT. Let's see what exactly it can give, right? Again, when I say stocks, we should be very specific to ChatGPT, right? Because it can be a US stocks as well. So I'll say, I want a Python code to filter the Indian stocks which meets this criteria. One is current market price, market cap, and PE, right? See, most of us will stop at this point when you are doing prompt, right? But being a beginner, let's not stop till this level. Let's also say and explain the whole code step by step with clear explanation or whatever. I mean, when you mention that thing. And so let's see. This line is a powerful line for a beginners. Most of the beginners will do a mistake not entering this line, right? If you are not entering this line, then you're not learning or you're not knowing what your code does, right? You simply copy paste and you will simply run in your terminal or in your application. Let's also put this line where it can also explain the code as well, right? So right now it is going. So it is, see, it is using a library called Yahoo Finance, right? Yahoo Finance is one of the library where it can fetch stock related information, right? So that is one. And it want to read as well, right? To read any data or to process any data, as we mentioned, we need to use some library called Pandas, right? See here, it is using Pandas as one of the library. When you say something called import, which means it is using that library. And it is also using Yahoo Finance, right? Again, when you call import Pandas as PD and YF, is nothing but it is creating its own shortcuts, right? In future, in the lines, if they want to call Pandas, it will call as PD, not as Pandas, right? So that's how you assign shortcuts and you can write the code, right? So if you see here, a Python code, it is importing the respective libraries which we want. Now, the question comes, so this Pandas and Yahoo Finance is required to be in our system or in our computer. The answer is yes, right? If you don't have that, you'll throw error saying that there is no enough libraries in your system. Then what you should do is, first, when you are seeing the code, just ensure what are libraries are there in your system. Or by default, ask the code, please give me all the libraries which I need to install to run this Python code, right? Let's see if it is giving any libraries down. Yeah, see here, Since we asked step-by-step explanation, it is also giving me what are the libraries I have. See, import libraries. We already know what is library by this time, right? Library is also a kind of application which we download from App Store, like how we are using now in the Python, right? See, if you see here, Python. Why Python? It is for handling tables or processing a data. Why Yahoo Finance? To fetch stock information, right? So these are the main libraries which you need in your system, and then it is giving some stock list by default, right? And then it is looping through all the stocks, because right now it is giving around 10 stocks. It will loop through each stock and see whether it met our criteria. If it is not met our criteria, then it will throw as there is no stocks which met your criteria, right? And then to fetch the data, it is using Yahoo Finance Ticker, and that's where it will fetch the data, and then come down, and then when you come down, I'll just see whether it is showing any. Yeah, it is not showing, or it is not guiding us how to install a specific library, right? Let's go ahead. I mean, if I run that, I'll not get any error because I have Pandas and Yahoo Finance in my system. But you will face an error. Then what you should do is you just ask. Next question is I don't have libraries in my system, right? How to install those libraries, right? Again, when you say install, you are not going to any external application and installing that, right? When we run certain code, it will automatically install in our system. I'll show that how to do that.
Just a moment, Praveen. Here, when we say the libraries, here we have finance library as well. So if it is not belongs to a finance category, then how many libraries we can expect in our system to download a basic library?
It depends on the requirement. Yeah, Krishna. So let's say example, right now we are exploring stocks. That's why you're importing Yahoo Finance. When you want to do some statistical calculations, or when you want to do some scenario-based modeling, you need some library called NumPy, right? Again, let's not memorize that because the moment you ask a question in GenAI, obviously it will give whatever libraries you want in the system, right? So let's stick to that for now without going more into advanced, because we are not Python advanced experts, right? Yeah. So again, not a big deal. It will tell you what exactly libraries we use. But yeah, coming to the topic here, you see here, this is the one which I want to tell you. See, when you want to install any libraries in your system, you just copy this. Just copy this, right? And then enter something called Windows R. Windows R is nothing but your run. So just type Windows R and type /cmd. Again, what is that CMD? Is nothing but your command prompt, right? Again, I don't want to remember this, Praveen, right? Okay, then fine. Just go to your Windows and come to command prompt. The shortcut is /cmd. Yeah, but okay. Come to command prompt. Now type whatever you copied in that. So first let's understand this, right? Pip install. What is pip install, right? Pip stands for, the definition of pip, if you want to mention that, is nothing but Python installed packages. As I mentioned, these are libraries, packages, which to be installed into our system in order to run your code, right? So now pip stands for Python installed packages, space install, space the respective packages, right? Right now we see Pandas, Yahoo Finance, OpenPyXL. What is this? This is we are learning for the first time, right? OpenPyXL is nothing but if you are using Excel application or Excel file into your Python code, then we need a library called OpenPyXL, right? So we need to install this, right? So just pip install Pandas, Yahoo Finance, OpenPyXL. Just enter that. Click on enter. That's it. Nothing else. Once you click on enter, since I already have in my system, it is saying requirement already satisfied. If you are not having that, it will take a few seconds and it will install in your basically in your system, right? In future, if you want to use Pandas, or if you want to use Yahoo Finance, again, no need to require entering pip install because you already have that, right? Now, how to know how many libraries you have in your system, right? We can do that as well. So you can just come here, as I think it's already given here. Yeah. So now let's ask how to check the libraries in my system, right? We have some, again, the pip install itself. Yeah, pip list. I forgot that, but yeah. So just click on pip list. It will tell you all the list of libraries which got installed in your application. I mean, for me, the list is a little big because I'm using a lot of libraries here. Okay, see here, you have many libraries. You have LangChain, one of the library which you need to use for when you are want to create some RAG models, or you want to create some applications using LangChain and all. Yeah, see, all these libraries are installed in my system, right? If something new you want, you can just go ahead and use this pip install, what we done right now, right? Okay, fine. Let's go ahead with again execution of code now. So now by this time you understood what are libraries, how to install that libraries, and also we also found a way without installing Python application how you can run. Let's also see that. See, I just mentioned Google Colab. We have not run any code yet, right? Let's also run that and see. But my strong suggestion, Google Colabs is very good being a beginner friendly or at a starting point of time, but at some point of time you need to install Python in your software to run some complex things, right? Because this is just a cloud version of Python or to execute your code, right? But I would strongly suggest download Python application and then start running the code, right? Yeah. So now let's go ahead and see the code which is given, right? So yeah, this is a code which is given. Basically, it import Pandas, Yahoo Finance. These are the few stocks it is telling at upfront. But again, now the curious question comes is, what if I have a stocks in my Excel file and it can read? Yes, it can do that. But for a demo, it is giving a few stocks which we'll see if it meeting the criteria, right? So again, that's why we see here. See, something is slash. You see here some slash. What exactly is that? Is slash. When you use something in slash before any line, is nothing but that is not part of your code. It is like a comments, right? It's kind of comments. It's kind of a note which it not execute the code that for, but it is just for a commenting purpose. It is also giving a hint that if you want to use Excel, you can do that, right? And come down, it is filtering the stocks. It is checking these criterias and it is letting us know, right? Perfect. Now we'll go ahead and run this and let's see whether we can able to do that, right? As I mentioned, first step, what I'll do is I'll just show you 3 ways of running the code, right? Before that, I just want to ensure whether audience are with me. Can you say yes, no? Can I go ahead with showing how to run the code? Yeah, I quickly click yes. Yeah, perfect. Yes, yes, great. Okay, now then now you got a code, right? How you can execute that? There are a couple of ways. I'll show from basic to advanced, right? Let's now first open a notepad, a simple notepad, right? Copy your code. Nothing great you're doing. But when you're saving that, like I'm not sure how many of you are well-versed in VBA or macro. If you want to save your Excel into a macro-enabled Excel, what you'll use? If you want to save your normal Excel into a macro-enabled Excel, what is the extension you'll use? Any idea? Normally, Excel extension is .xlsx, right? Great. Yeah, exactly. So you are saving that as .xlsm, right? But now, if you want to save Python code, you need to use something called .py, right? So now just save the code. I'm just saving in, I'll just save for now in our C drive. Okay. I'll just name this as stocks screener.py. py is mandatory, right? And then when you're doing that, just mention all files, save. That's it. Nothing great you've done. You've taken the code from GenAI or Gemini, what are the tools we have, and then you paste it and then saved in your file. As I mentioned, right? I mentioned to explain here. I'll go here and then stock screener. I'll edit. See, now you updated your code into Notepad. Can you run directly from this? Answer is no. As we mentioned, right? This is not a IDE tool, or this is not a tool to run your code. This is a tool where you can view the code, but not run the code, right? Then how you can run the code, right? The basic step anyone can do, right? Just again, the same old story. Go to your command prompt. Anyway, the path by default is C drive, users, PK drive. I'm in that folder only, right? So if you see here, if you want to see the path, just click on Shift on that respective file and then right click. Then you'll see something called copy as path, right? If you copy and paste here, see, I already is in the drive. Now the curious question comes. See, by default, your drive or your path is always a C drive here. Then how you can change that to some other location, right? Easy. You need to use something called CD. CD stands for change directory, right? When you enter CD and enter your revised path, not a file, revised path, right? I'll just enter here. I just want to enter downloads, right? Not sure whether it's correct or not, but yeah, downloads, right? when you enter that, sorry, I should not mention quotations, because if I mention quotation, it will take that as text. But yeah, so that is not the right path.
S is missing in downloads.
Correct. So yeah, I'll just write a right path so that we'll not face issues. But yeah, this is the path. CD change directory, and I'll not mention these files. And then I'll see the moment you updated your directory, instead of telling C users PK9077, now it is changing to downloads, right? So now if you have any notepad, Python file in your download, you can directly run here, right? See, now we have not done with the step how to run. Now we are at a step where you can change the directory, right? Again, that's not a mandatory to change the directory. If your by default directory is your C drive, then go ahead and save that in that there itself. But if you don't want to save in your C drive and all, that's where you need to change the drive, right? Okay, let's come to our execution. So now you have code, nothing great I done. I taken from AI and then I pasted in the notepad, right? Simple. Now how to run that? Copy. I'm copying the name of the file, and again, this is not my directory. My directory is this. I'll close these, or I'll CLS. Okay, and I'll okay, fine. I'll close this and I'll run again. See, this is my directory, correct? Now what you do is simply type Python space file name. That's it. Python space file name .py. If you have .py as your file, it's good. Okay, done. You're not doing anything. You are just typing Python and your file name, right? Now Python will go ahead and see the code inside that, and it will try to execute that, right? So this is a simple way how to execute that. Now you can tell Praveen, it is showing empty data frame, columns, index and all. Why? Because it is not meeting the criteria. The code is not meeting the criteria of, what is that? The criteria is market cap should cross 10,000K, and then you should be 50% low, and then your PE should be greater than 30, right? All these things, less than 30. But these are not meeting the criteria, because we see in the screen a wrap. What is meeting the criteria? KPIT and Hexaware is meeting the criteria. Let's add KPIT into the code and let's see whether it can able to fetch, right? KPIT, this is a code of NSE, right? By this time, most of the chart accounts knows how to trade and how to at least see the share price and all, right? So that's the reason I'm not going into that fundamentals. But yeah, instead of Reliance, I'm just modifying that to KPIT. Nothing great I'm doing. A .ns is nothing but this is a way it will fetch the information. But yeah, this is by default. But KPIT is a stock name, right? Just save it. Now what you've done, you open a notepad and you edit it, right? How you edit it without talking to AI, that comes by experience, right? The small tweaks in the code not required to be relied on AI, right? You can just directly copy in your code, right? So okay, fine. Now you update the code, come here, execute again, right? What is execution? Python stocks screen.py, right? Let's see what it gives. If it throws errors, that's fine. The basic understanding should be, yeah, great. I think it's working, right? So you see here, the beauty, it shows KPIT is a stock which meet all your criteria. The price is this, 52 week is that, and then market cap is this, P ratio is that, right? See, now it's giving the result. Like that, if you have around 10,000 stocks in your Excel file, and if you ask Python code to go to my Excel file and read all the stocks and tell me which meets my criteria, it will do that. That's powerful the Python is, right? I just want a couple of yes, no in the chat box, whether you're able to get the point which I am telling. A couple of yes or no, so that I can just repeat that. See, right now what we does is very basic running of a Python code. We have not used any extensive tools. We just use a Python tool itself, right? Now let's go a little bit deeper and see whether how we can run without Python having in our system, right? As we mentioned, Google Colabs, right? What you can do is just, you have your code here, copy this code, paste here, Google Colabs. Before that, I want this to do simultaneously. Can you please, I'll just copy this code in the chat box, right? Go to Colabs first. Go to Colabs. I given the link here because I'll not expect you to install a Python and run that, because sometimes you'll get into some error when you're downloading your Python software, right? Just go to Google Colabs. Can you go to this Google Colabs here? I'll pin this. I mean, sorry, it's already pinned. Yeah. So I'll pin this message. Can you go to Google Colabs and confirm whether you able to navigate that? I'll paste here again for the interest of audience who joined. Yeah. So go to that and create a new notepad. I think notebook something, right? So you have that. All right. I'll go afresh. Google Colabs. See, I'm going in live Colabs. And then new notebook. Just enter a new notebook. Just click on new notebook. Yeah. Now I'll paste the code here. Now you try it running. Okay. Instead of me pasting the code, because if I paste code, it looks a little odd in the chat box. What I'll do is I'll paste this notepad, right? You download the notepad and copy that. Don't have attachments as such. Okay, fine. Let's not get much into these technical skills. I'll directly give you a code. See, this is a code, right? Can you please copy that code quickly? Copy the code quickly. And then you just copy, nothing you can do. Just copy the code. I want some couple of yes, no, those who were done. So we are not installing any software. We are just seeing whether we can able to run in online, basically cloud version of how we can run the Python, right? Okay, fine. So now I'll just click here and I'm pasting the code and clicking run. Just click on this run button, right? You'll see a magic. You're not installing any software in the tool. You're not installing any libraries as well, but you are executing your Python code, right? That's how you can do using this Google Colabs. Google Colabs is one such tool, and you have something called Replit. Replit is one of the tool where you can also do a cloud-based Python execution. But yeah, let's see. See the beauty of this Colabs as well, right? Again, since it is in a Google ecosystem, you can also ask Gemini AI in live, like how you saw in Google Visual Studio, right? That's by Microsoft. This is by Google. You can also chat accordingly. Your code will get modified, right? I'm not sure why it's taking the time, but yeah. So those who got the result, they can just confirm the chat. But yeah, I mean, it's executing. Perfect. See the result out here. It executed and given the result as well. How many of you got the result? Can you please confirm on the chat? Yes, no, yes, no. Perfect. I think a couple of people tried that. Showing error. Again, if it shows error, you just leverage this Gemini AI feature here and it will help you in fixing the error. Right. So yeah, this is how you can execute code online. You can execute in the desktop using Notepad, saving that as .py, and then you can execute the code, right? See, this is a very basic example which I showed. I don't want this session to be a little advanced as such. But again, if you want to have an advanced session, we can plan that as well, where we can go with web scraping, how we can automate logging into multiple portals and downloading the forms, which I showed at the starting of the video, right? How we can go to income tax portal, downloading AS, 26 AS, and download in your system, right? Let's say example, if you are a CF form having hundreds of clients, how you can download 26 AS for hundreds of clients, right? We don't have solution as such in the real world now. You can use, but you can't do that using Pandas. You can't do that using NumPy, or we can't. Can we execute the code in Visual Studio? Yes, we can do that. That's what we done, I think, here, right? We can do that. That's not a great task. I mean, that's not a hard task. You can do that. So Visual Studio, you can do that. Visual Studio, you can also debug, as we mentioned, as we have Copilot add-on. You need to do add-on first, Google Copilot, Microsoft Copilot, and then you need to execute that. So that's one thing. And yeah, so the reason why I'm talking about web scraping, right? Web scraping, you can't use Pandas, you can't use NumPy, any libraries. There is some libraries, there is some applications which will help you to perform this web automation, right? I'll just quickly show that web automation libraries to be used in Python, right? First and foremost, I'm not sure how many people are aware or heard that is called Selenium. Selenium is one of the application which we use for performing your web automation. See here, the first and foremost came this Selenium, right? But for me, I used a tool or a library called Playwright, right? Playwright is by Microsoft again. It's the latest one, a web automation Playwright, right? See, Playwright automation. Playwright is an open source Microsoft one where you can install, I mean, basically it is library, right? It is a library where you can put inside your Python and do all your web scraping, right? See, Selenium is one, and then Beautiful Soap is one of, these are little famous, right? Let's see if we have any playwright. We don't have any playwright as such, but yeah, I'm not sure why they included playwright in the list, but that is the latest one. It launched almost 1.5 years back. I used that in my semi-final use case where you are seeing downloading of 26 AS and AS, right? So yeah, that's one thing where we can do web scraping. That is a little advanced. I don't want to show that, or I don't want to do I don't want to confuse that with this learning which you have in this session. Again, now let's end up with the last use case, which pretty much useful for our finance folks, like as you mentioned, right? How we can merge hundreds or thousands of PDFs or Excel or CSV file we have, right? So right now I'm having around 117 files, right? How we can merge that? Again, for that, I asked ChatGPT, given me a code. See, this is a code which it given. Nothing great again. I'm just opening the code. It is asking me to import Pandas. See, now you are seeing some other new library. Import OS, operating system, right? OS stands for operating system, that's anyone knows. But why we are using UI? See, OS, right? Because it want to access the files inside my folder, right? It want to access my operating system. It want to access my folders, and what are the files I have in the folders? It want to access that, right? For that, you need to write a line called import OS, right? You are not writing, basically AI is writing, but you want to understand why we are using OS. Why not only Pandas, right? Pandas will serve your purpose, but if you have an OS, that's where you can access the files within your folders, right? See, it is accessing. I just told this is my folder path. I have all the files in the merge files, and then can you please merge and given me, right? We can execute this code. How to execute the code? Simple. I'll show the other way now, right? You know that how to execute the code. Go to command prompt and then type Python merge.py. Let's not do that now, right? Now we'll go to IDE, where this is one of the IDE to run your code, right? Now let's open this file. Where we have this, we have in downloads, right? Downloads, open. We have in downloads, right? As I mentioned, this ideally comes by default when you download your Python one, right? So merge this one, right? Merge. See, by default, you are seeing the code here. As I mentioned, the difference between Notepad and this ideally is in Notepad also you can see the code, nothing great, right? But you can't execute the code there, but you can execute here. See here, run module. That's it. You are not doing anything at all. See, it is processing within seconds, right? It is merging all the files and it is saved a merge file here. Let's see whether it's saved or not. Merge files. See, merge output. It's saved at 10:14 a.m. This is exactly the time we are seeing now. Merge output. Click on that and then see the output. See, it merged all my line items. I just kept only one line item in each file, but if you have 10,000 line items in each Excel file, it can do that in a second, right? That's much powerful the Python is. This is one use case. The other use case is if you are reconciling your GSTR books with your, GSTR returns with your books, you can do that reconciliation. If you are, if you want to extract some information from PDF using OCR technology, again, as we mentioned, right, for web automation, we are using a library called web scrap. For web scraping, we're using a library called Selenium or Playwright. For OCR, we use a library called the Tesseract. That is a famous OCR library. We'll ask that, right? What is a famous library for OCR, right? Or maybe best OCR library for PDF in Python. See here, Tesseract. P is silent, but so Tesseract is a OCR technology library where you can install it in Python. How you to install that? Pip install. You go to command prompt, enter this, it will automatically get installed. Once you get installed, you go to ChatGPT and ask a prompt that I have a PDF files, I want to extract data. Can you please do that? Since you have Tesseract library, you can do that as well, right? So those are the few things which we can leverage slowly and start a journey of Python. And then you can first of all go to little advanced, how to web scrap, how to pull the information, and how to do complex tasks, right? Because many chartered accountants, where I see now, right, they are way beyond in Python. They are just building applications. I saw a few applications last week that someone does bank audit reconciliation and performing bank audit using Python application. They build a tool for bank audit once, and they are doing some tasks in that as well. And And I think Krupa also explored some Python applications. Maybe he will share in a couple of minutes when we get a time, right? So these are the few things which we can do using Python. See, this session I want to stick that as basic as anyone can understand. So now this is a time where you need to step in ahead, and now you want to do a advanced functions or advanced steps, right? So you can do that using Python. Only thing is just leverage AI and understand the code as well before you just blindly copy pasting that. Because sometimes if you want to debug the code or if you want to rewrite the code, again, don't depend on AI. If you understand the code, just tweak that and you can easily get into that, right? So that's one thing. And I mean, in the interest of time, I'll just stop here, and if maybe we can take separate session for chatbots or see, right now the technology which we learned is backend, right? So backend is the one which we learn now. What about frontend, right? We can take a session on the frontend as well and see how you can build a HTML tools, right? See, as I mentioned, so I'll quickly share my screen and I'll show one of the HTML tools which we built, like how Krupa showed his website, right? So like that, I'll quickly show my final use case. I'll take Krupa, I'll take 2-3 minutes and then I'll give control to you. I mean, before that, I just want some couple of yes, no. Are you able to get the session? Like, are you able to understand what exactly the Python basics and all? Couple of yes, no. So that maybe if you want to repeat that, I'll just repeat that as well. That's not a big deal. Or else we can get in touch because again, the main intent of Brain and Bytes is also to leverage the networking feature, and then let's grow together, right? We can also get in touch and let understand how we can get into more technologies like this. But yeah, without much delay, I want to show my finale use case where I only stick to my HTML. There is no Python code. There is no VBA, or there is no such other tools which I use. I want to stick that to frontend and HTML, right? Before that, I'll share my website here so that people can navigate into that, right? So now what I done, right? So here, see, everything I done using a front-end technology, right? So I asked ChatGPT that I want some kind of website I want to build to myself, and lot of reiterations, around 100 to 120 reiterations happen every time. Every week I'll just sit in my website and I'll see what else I can do, what else I can improve, right? This is my website which I built for my own sake. You can just see my professional journey and you can expand this to understand what I'm doing in my work. And when you come down, you have my projects and achievements. As we mentioned, right, I was one of the finalists in season 4 hackathon, right? Again, if I want to touch base on hackathon journey, it is not an easy one, right? People who experience that will come to know, because I see a lot of people posting no in the poll, which means they have not participated in the hackathon, right? So I'll just see anyone is. Sadly no, yes, because no one participated in hackathon. Maybe I'll just keep yes, so that at least one S I have. But yeah, that's not a big deal. That's not a problem. If not now, just start exploring that side as well, right? So now click here and attachment. You'll come to know my journey. I just demonstrated my journey in a form of 4 or 5 pages. How I started my grand finale. I mean, how I started my hackathon journey and reached to grand finale. But one challenging part of ICA AI hackathon, right? ICA will not encourage the same use case to present in all levels, right? Right now, we will start at a round 1. Once you qualify round 1, you'll go to your semi-finals where you compete with smaller audience who comes from round 1s. And then once you qualify round 1, semi-final, you'll go to finals. 3 rounds you'll have. All these 3 rounds, you should not show a same use case, or you should not advance your use case and show something on top of that, right? You should come up with a different use case, altogether different use case, or else you'll not get marks, or you will not qualify to the next round. That's one challenging part we have in ICA hackathon, right? But sometimes again, the learnings comes from the challenging part, right? But yeah, so those who are interested, you can just go through this journey. See, first I started with a no-code platform called Power Automate Desktop, and how you can do a web automation, right? Then I advanced myself, or then I used altogether coding platform where Python, right? And then I used at last a front end to bring more analytics into picture, because a lot of CAs nowadays are not, I mean, not now, previous, if you go back 2-3 years back, or where AI is not evolved that much, right? We are not much into analytic sections, right? But this is a time we need to untap that analytic section, and we need to get into that, right? So I'll show my final use case, what exactly I done. Again, it is published in my website as well. If we come to your app section, right, application section, this is the application which I'm talking about. ITR normally stands for income tax return, but this is where you will see other side of ITR, intelligent taxpayer report. So what you should do here is just dump your JSON files, right? You will file your returns. Once you file your returns, you can download your PDF copy. At the same time, you can also download your JSON file, right? So basically, you are downloaded your filed ITR in a JSON format. Just come here and upload those last 3 years JSON files, right? You will see a beauty. I'll just show that. See, these are the 3 JSON files, basically 3 years JSON files, which I download from ITR. Just upload and click on process, right? You will see altogether a different view of your ITRs, right? Basically, you are converting your raw JSON file into a comparative table, like you will use for your listed companies or your companies in your comparative statements, which you will do for a lot of companies, right? Like that, you can do a comparative statement for your own ITRs. If you see here, 2023, the respective client, see nowhere the client name is disclosed, nowhere the personal details of clients are exposed. See here, nowhere you are seeing the name. You are just seeing form name, which regime he opted, what are the salaries, and what is the income pattern he disclosed. And you will see a couple of red and green as well, right? Red stands for, these are some anomalies which you automatically detect. Red stands for something you declared last year, but not this year, which means you missed something to disclose in your ITR. See, we see here, this client filed ITR 1 in old regime and ITR 2 in old regime itself in 2024, but in 2023, he used 35K in 80D. But why he didn't use in 2024, right? This is something which will trigger the client, and then he can act when he is filing in next year, right? So that's my main intent. First, to show a comparative table of your incomes and what is your net worth, and detecting some anomalies. Green stands for something you disclosed last year, but this almost doubled in this year. Just think through whether it is real or it's a fake. If it is a fake, just make sure you're not repeating in the coming years, right? All these detections it will do, and then it will do this bar charts, everything and all. And then we have some beautiful feature which I have not enabled here. If you have a Gemini API key, you can just enter Alt Shift A, right? Sorry, Alt Shift A. When you enter Alt Shift A, you need to enter your API key. I mean, I don't want to expose that API key here because that's really confidential. Once you does that, what will happen? By default, AI will read all your information. As I mentioned, no personal information, all your information numbers here. Then it will tell you what went good and what are a few suggestions it can give, and what are the action points which you need to take. In that way, people can think through their respective investment options. People can think through various ways they can save tax, etc. In this section, right? I'm not showing that as a demo because you can see here when you go to my journey, right? When you go to the journey here, and in this journey, you will find all the links as well. Just come to the second, the last one at least, right? Turning complaints into analytics, where this see here, use case presentation. You can just go ahead and click on this. You will see the YouTube, because ICA will host all the hackathon videos into YouTube, right? I'll just quickly show what exactly you see here. See, this is what I have not showed you, right? But in the hackathon, definitely I showed that. So this is an automated summary which AI automatically generates to you, right? The summary will show the salary, how much, your net worth, how much, HRA exempted, how much, and recommendation it will do. It will see recommendation for 2023-2024, explore utilizing unclaimed deductions, 80 CCDB, and then optimize 80D. Because how it will knows? It sees this data. See, this data is there. It is saying 80D I have not optimized much. It is suggesting me to optimize. And 80 CCDB, it is asking me to increase or explore options to increase your NPS. All these suggestions it will give. How it will give? AI is reading your data and giving the suggestions, right? So think of this, no? If a person is having a filed ITR in one hand and your intelligent taxpayer report, which I developed in one hand, right? Which makes more powerful, right? Obviously this ITR, intelligent taxpayer report, right? So this is how you can just turn your client ITRs into analytics, right? You can download this as well and you can send to your client. The beautiful feature of this is also you can upload your TAS or AAS, right? Annual Information System or TAS as well, right? You can just upload this. Once you upload this, obviously it asks for a password because it's a password protected. Just type this. It will say how much it matched against your TIS and your ITR copy, right? If it says 100% match, which means whatever TIS salary we have, your ITR also disclose that much. Let's say example, I'll show other case where intentionally I'll upload other client TIS as well, and I'll see whether it's giving same percentage or not, right? Yeah, see here, it is showing 100% match, but it's showing something in red, which means you disclosed, I'll show here, you disclosed 17 lakhs in your ITR, whereas your TAS have only 13 lakhs. Not a bother, because obviously your income should always exceed your TAS or should match, right? That's where income tax will not bother much. They will bother only when your TAS is high and your ITR is less. They will not bother when your ITR, whatever declared, is high and your TAS is less, because anyway you will end up paying high tax when you declare more, right? But yeah, this is something which I want to show as a part of front-end technology and all. But yeah, I just give a control to Krupa. I know I just crossed the time. Sorry for that, but yeah, so I'm giving control to you, Krupa. Yeah.
Yeah, not a problem, Praveen. Thank you so much for your time, and also for everyone who have joined the session. I feel you find the session more interactive, and more or less you find it better. And also I am dropping an link over the chart, so you can fill your attendance, and you can join the WhatsApp group. So to know the upcoming sessions, as well as if you have any queries, Praveen will also be there. There are other speakers who are also available in the group, so you can type your whatever particular problem you have. We can all together work together for a solution as well. And in the feedback form, we have also requested, if you want us to cover any future topics, we can do that as well, as we didn't get a lot of time to explore more deep dive into Python. If everyone is interested for the upcoming session, we can take that forward as well. So thank you everyone for your time, and I don't want to take more time here, because we have asked for 10:30 and it's sharp 10:30. By this, I would like to conclude the session, and you can scan this code as well, which is appearing on the screen, and you can also have the link in the chat box, so you can just fill your attendance so that you will get the certificates. So that's all from our end. If you have any suggestions or anything else, you can just mention there. And I would actually wanted to take any Q&A session as well. If everyone is interested, if anyone wants any particular questions to be asked, we are ready to take that for a couple of 5-10 minutes, if that is viable for everyone.
Yeah, we'll just see if anyone interested to ask any questions and all. If not, then we can just wind up. But again, the most interesting part of any session is Q&A for me, especially, right? So leverage that. So if you have any questions in your mind, whether it's a basic or advanced or expert level, please feel free to post that, or you can unmute yourself and you can ask that. So
Praveen, a couple of people has asked this question. I mean, I'll just spell out that for you. I mean, can we bypass CAPTCHA in GST while doing web scraping?
We can't do that. We can't do that because one challenge you have when you want to bypass your CAPTCHA is, first you need to read the CAPTCHA. First, you can't bypass the CAPTCHA, definitely, no. The other way is, you can ask your Python code to read CAPTCHA and then enter the CAPTCHA details, right? That's easy. But the challenge here is, again, our hotels or our government or our department is not that dumb, right? Obviously, yeah, it comes in a very strong way where no one can bypass or no one can read the CAPTCHA, right? If you see closely, observe our GST department CAPTCHA, it is very clumsy. You can't just like that put that in any AI platform and ask for CAPTCHA to read. I just tried multiple times when I want to show my semifinal use case. It is very difficult for you to read the CAPTCHA. The only way is just let user type the CAPTCHA and everything will be done by Python next steps. What it does is automatically it will enter your user ID, password. Just give some time, 30 seconds, 1 minute for a user to enter CAPTCHA. And then the moment it enter CAPTCHA after 1 minute, it automatically clicks on login, go to GSTR 2B section, download GSTR 2B, everything will be done. Again, that is anyway posted in my ISA website. You can also see my semifinal use case, how we can automatically download GSTR forms. But again, as to answer your question, we can't do that. Again, I don't have, I mean, as per my knowledge, we can't do that.
And there was another question. Can we able to extract live stocks data from broker live trigger using Python?
Yes. I mean, right now we can do that with using Yahoo Finance. We can do that. I mean, I have not explored that, but we can do that using Python along with ticker.
And also, can we even pull real-time data from nscindia.com?
I'm not explored that. Maybe yeah, we can see if they give APIs as such. We can pull that data, because let's say example how Zerodha, how Grow, and how Upstocks are getting the data, because they are using API keys of NSE, right? But API keys are not freely available, and it's heavy cost as well, right? So if I'm not wrong, through Python you can't get live data of NSE. But see if we have some libraries which can help you it can do. But I have not explored that. But if you have API keys of NSE website, definitely you can do that.
Yeah, there it was one more question. Python we run through Virtual Studio, right? Is there any other platform apart from Virtual Studio we can run the Python apart from Google?
See, first of all, as I mentioned, VS Studio or Visual Studio, whatever it is one of the IDE, right? The other IDEs are Jupyter Notebook. Maybe you could have heard, or Anaconda, or we have one beautiful IDE called PyCharm. I'll keep that here. Maybe, I mean, it's very simple nowadays. And if you go to Google and ask what are the available IDEs, it will tell, but I'll just keep here as well. See, PyCharm is one of the IDEs which I'll recommend, because it do have its own advantages when you use PyCharm. Like how you use Visual Studio, you can use PyCharm to run the code or to debug the code and all. But you have VS Studio, because VS Studio is very famous and it is used almost from couple of many years, right? So you can leverage VS Studio rather than going to other IDE platforms.
I would like to take one last question from here. So they are asking, can we get live data from website in Excel and use that for analysis?
That's what we asked, right? So if you can able to get live data from NSE using Python code, you can paste that respective value into Excel. That's not a big deal. I mean, if we have that option to pull live data from any website, putting that into Excel is not a big deal, because anyway you will store that. But getting live data from website, again, if I'm not wrong, they are referring to stocks price. If it is a stock price and all, as I mentioned, if you have a limitation that NSE is not allowing you to fetch that, I mean, NSE is not allowing you to use free APIs. If APIs is costly, you can't use API. The next thing is you need to do a web automation, right? How you'll go and search in Google manually, right? If you type Reliance share price, you'll see a price. That price you can put in Excel. Automatically, you can do a web scraping and pull that value and put that in Excel. That you can do. But again, if you want to use APIs is the best way if they provide. If not, then do a web scraping. You can do that. Doable.
Okay, your doubt is clarified, I guess, right?
I mean, if the doubt is for NSE stocks, I mean, stock information, you can do that. But or else, if you're asking some normal information to get the data, right? Like the example, reference status. When you log into the income tax portal, if you want to get a reference status, go there, check the reference status, put that in Excel. That you can do as well.
Understood. Thank you, Praveen. Thank you, everyone. I mean,
just one small tip. Suppose if we want to change any directory and all, we can go to the desired path. In that desired path, if we type CMD, CMD will open from that required path only.
Exactly.
I think it would be easy.
Yeah. I don't want to cover that. I mean, I missed to cover that one, Renika. I'll just show what exactly Renika is referring to again. That's a beautiful thought you shared. So what she's saying is when you go to your folder, any folder, right? You type here /CMD. Sorry. CMD right here. See, if you enter just CMD, it will automatically, no need of using CD and then your path, right? Just enter CMD, it will tell you, it will update you by default. I mean, not by default, it will update you that respective path. If not by default, it will be your C drive. Am I right, Renika? What you are referring is that, right?
Yes. Yeah, correct.
Understood. I missed that. Thanks for the catch.
No problem.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm seeing one last question will take. Can Python build balance sheet in Excel? Yeah, it can do wonders, right? So it can build balance sheet. It can, I mean, Krupa, you can share your own example, how you done bank statements and build balance sheet, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe not in this session,
Okay.
maybe because we are already overboard. So
Yeah.
I'll just give you a brief about what I have done also. So based on the bank statement, how we can, I mean, get a PDF or live Excel sheet, we can take that and using Tesseract and other OCR phaser, we can read the data and we can clear the data. And then we give some comments to deal that particular ledgers, particular entries into particular ledgers and prepare a trial balance, then to balance it. Altogether can be explored through Python straight away. All the codes is right away, available over various Gen AI. So it's not a big deal, but ideally we have to spend little time there. And if you have any more queries, if we want to connect in person also, you can just ping over a WhatsApp group, which has been given in the chart. So we can take it forward. And because as the time has been already crossed, that's the only limit which I'm saying. If that is fine, we can take it further.
I think
Thank you, Kair. With respect to CFS calculator also, the same has been done through Claude as well. Yeah. So all these things can be explored, and it will be useful if we start using the AI from day to day. Yeah. Anything else, Praveen or Krishna, you'd like to add on? Or
final, I want to just ended up saying thanks, Krishna. Before I hand over control, I'll just say this last. Thanks, Brain Bytes, for giving me an opportunity. I know this is the first virtual session which we are trying to attempt, and I hope I met your expectation. But again, this is a sharing of my knowledge. But again, if you want to explore some use case, feel free to reach out to me. You can go to my website, and there you have my LinkedIn ID. We can get in touch, right? That's not a big deal, because we want our CF fraternity to grow along with our institute. Our institute is doing so much. Let's use those, and then let's all grow and build some wonders, right? Because right now the world is changing a lot, right? Every day the new technology is coming. Every day the new GPTs is getting launched, new LLMs is getting launched. So we'll also be stay updated with that. And thanks a lot for all the people who joined, because I know Saturday is one of the days which we'll not expect to wake up at 9 o'clock and attend some session. Sorry to bother, but let's see. Next time we'll see what's the best time where we can plan, not this early. But yeah, for knowledge, if you spend at least 1.5 hours in a weekend, I think that's worth sometimes, right? Yeah. With that, I'll hand over control to Krishna Sri. Thanks a lot again for giving the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Praveen, for your efforts that you have put in the morning session. It was so insightful. And personally, I feel how Python is very important here in the case-to-case basis in the live scenarios. I can see here in my clients. So we feel that Python is something as like a big elephant altogether. Now I think you gave a surface level of information where we can think about it and work on it. So just thank you so much. And yeah, if anyone, any of the participants, if anyone you are interested to share the knowledge or something, Brain Bytes is a place. So we can come together, share our knowledge, and grow together. So thank you so much for your time.
Yes. Finally, one last reminder. I have already shared an link for the feedback as well as attendance, so that you directly get a certificate from there. And also I have given WhatsApp group link, so you can post your queries whenever you have, and you will know the upcoming sessions as well. And whoever is interested, if they want to take a sessions, that is also possible. You can just drop us an email, or you can just ping in the WhatsApp group. We can take that forward as well. Thank you once again, Praveen, for all